It's unboxing time again. But this one isn't going to take too long because it's a really simple thing to unbox. So I think I'm going to use the end of this video to get a little political today. What I'm going to unbox is this thing. So it's a car battery charger. I bought a new one. This is my old one. And it still works-ish. I mean, it works, but there's no electronics really. There's wiring in there, but no electronics really to speak. It's not computerized. Let's put it that way. It's got a charge down on the switch, up to start the car, in the middle is off, and it's got an amp meter. If I remember correctly, I got this like when I was a little out of high school. I've had this since I moved to California. I moved this with me to California in 1975. So what does that make this? 45 years old? And I had had it for a while back then when I first started to work on my own cars. If I remember correctly, you start charging the battery, you look at the number on the amp meter, and if say it's 15, and then when it gets down to about 8 or 7, it's supposed to be, the battery is supposed to be charged. I don't know how well that works, but it does work. And so I'm going to keep this kind of as a spare. Some of you know me for my spares. But let's get into this, and then I'm going to take you outside and show you how I'm going to use this to charge and test my car's battery. This one's called a Tower Top. It's a 210 25 amp charger. I got it from Amazon, and there are a lot of different models, and they all have the same configuration. Yes, that's a plane going overhead. As far as unboxing goes, that's it. Not a whole lot to do. Comes with a booklet. I found a PDF that I was able to download. Things I like about this is it's got a wire organizer on the back. I don't know that this handle, I mean, big deal. But it's really lightweight compared to that metal one that I have. It's very lightweight. Well, it's all computerized. So, pretty decent clamps on it. Is it a 3-prong? No, it's only a 2-prong. I'm surprised. I thought it would be a 3-prong grounded outlet for a grounded outlet, but it's at least polarized. So let's head outside, and I'm going to explain to you what I'm going to do. The directions say to pull the negative, the ground. This is obviously the ground. Off first, so loosen the, okay, set that aside, and then I'm assuming this one must be the hot. Looks like these are 2 different size poles, which would make sense. There we go. Set those aside. Now my battery is disconnected, and what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to charge the battery using that charger, and then I'm going to leave the wires disconnected, the cables, for several days, maybe a week or more, and then hook them up and see whether or not I can start my car. If the battery is discharged, then the battery then won't be holding power. It'll be the problem with the battery. However, if the battery is fully charged after being disconnected for many days, then there must be a short somewhere in the wiring, and who knows where that could be. I mean, you've got an engine that's running, things are vibrating, a wire could be rubbing up against something, and eventually the insulation, the jacket has worn through and it's touching metal, and therefore I could have a small short somewhere that's draining my battery. There's no way to trace that down without spending an awful lot of money. And this car is so old, even though it's only got 70,000 miles on it. It's an old car. It's a 1993. I don't drive. I use my bicycle more than I use my car. But I think at this point, if there's a short somewhere, and I'll know in a few days, several days, I think I'm just going to run the car into the ground. When it's no longer drivable or barely drivable, I'll go drive it to a dealership somewhere, trade it in, and get a new car. All right, my next thing to do is to get my charger, bring it out here, and get it set up to charge my battery. So here's my charger. A few things worth mentioning about it. Amps is you select how much charge you want to going into the battery. 2 amps is a trickle charge, 10 amps would be a quick charge, and then I can run it up to 25 amps for a boost charge. You leave it on there for about 2 minutes, and then you can start the car. It helps you to start a car that's got a very low battery, not enough voltage to start the car. I'm going to use a trickle charge. There's also a little wrench down here. This is to repair the battery. Supposedly, if a battery sits for a long time unused, it builds up some sort of sulfur something crystals inside, which can reduce the battery's ability to hold a charge, and you can use this cycle to desulfonate the battery. Those things can take hours, 10, 24 hours, I don't know. But I'm going to do a trickle charge right now. But first I got to plug in my charger. Connecting it is simple enough. You've got a pole that's marked right here, negative. Right there it's marked positive. You put the black connector. It's got a negative on it. The red one's got a positive on it. So you put the negative on the negative pole. Put the positive on the positive pole. That's it. Start up the charger and charge the battery. And then I'm going to select my amperage, 2 amps, and let this start to charge. There's a lot of reflection on that screen. I don't know how well you can see the numbers, but it is starting to charge. Okay, I said I was going to get political. Oh, a couple of other things. The hair, I'm getting tired of my hair. It's too long, it gets in my face, and it itches. So I decided I'm just going to slick it back. I put some gel in it and just slicked it back off my face. It's all in the back. And one of these days I'll cut my hair. This ugly shirt I'm wearing, what do you expect? I'm working on my car. This is one of my grubbies. So when I'm painting, working on the car, working out in the yard, I put a grubby on so that I won't ruin one of my really good show shirts that I use in my cooking videos or my other vlogs. Okay, I said I was going to get political. All right, a couple things. One is sad news. Trump and his wife Melania, of course, have tested positive for COVID-19. I'm not one of those people who takes delight in that. I heard or read actually in the news that some on the far left are delighting in the diagnosis, and I couldn't help but think, well, that's probably hypocrisy, because had it been Biden who tested positive, there would be people on those critics who complained about people on the far left. They would probably be taking delight if Biden got tested and was positive. So people are people. You're going to get the full spectrum of people. I'm not pleased that Trump is positive with COVID-19. I wish him and Melania and any of the others who were infected, I wish them well. From what I understand, it's a horrific sickness, and it can leave lasting results that are damage, lasting, like lung damage. And his age and his weight and his other problems he's got, his McDonald's diet, his Diet Cokes, unless it's regular Cokes, I don't even know. Pepsi, I don't know. He's in a high risk group. So, but when you're president, you're out there meeting the people, shaking hands, but see, he teased Biden. He made fun of Biden for wearing a mask. And the good that might come out of this is maybe now, for the remainder of his presidency, assuming that he gets back to the Oval Office and can be the president that he was. Maybe now he'll appreciate the value of wearing a mask. It's not a 100% protection against the virus, but anything we can do, social distancing, staying home as much as possible, wearing a mask when we go out, those things combined can help to keep us a lot safer than just simply going around scoffing the idea of wearing a mask and saying that, oh, the CDC says a mask is a bad idea. No, it's not a bad idea. Okay, second thing that came out of this is that jet going overhead. Well, actually, that one's further out, which is good. That they said that probably there will be no more debates. Did you see the debate? It was painful to watch. It was, you know what was bad about it? Not just that he was behaving like a spoiled brat child behaves when a spoiled brat child becomes an adult, but it was embarrassing for our nation. We weren't the only people in the world, Americans, watching the debate. People in other countries were watching, and they saw what our president, the president of these here United States, they saw how he was behaving. And if you love Trump and you love that kind of conduct, fine, but to me it was shameful, and to me it was an embarrassment. And I kind of felt bad for him, and I felt bad for this nation. And hopefully we won't have that scar. Well, we'll always have the scar, but maybe we won't have that president any longer, that smear, that stain in the White House. So that was one of the good things that I came out of it, that no more debates, because they're just, unless they could control him. But people have been trying to control him for 4 years, more than 4 years, and it hasn't done any good. So I wish him well, him and Melania and others who are infected. I don't hope that they die. I hope that they get well soon, and if they have some symptoms, right now it says they're mild symptoms. I hope the symptoms don't get any worse, because I heard it can be a pretty difficult sickness to work through, and I hope them a full recovery, not a bad recovery where they're going to have problems for the rest of their life. And there's another thing, that if you come out of COVID-19 and say you've got scar tissue in your lungs, is that a pre-existing condition, and can you be denied health care? See, that's another thing he's fighting in the Supreme Court right now, or his people are, trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare, trying to remove the provision to protect people with pre-existing conditions. I just think it's a bad deal all the way around. And the thing I'm most looking forward to is a good vaccine. I think that's a reliable and very effective vaccine. And Trump wants it done before the election on November 3rd, but the pharmaceutical companies are saying no, well into next year, maybe next fall or even next winter, before they'll have a good vaccine, reliable, very effective, and available for the American public. So that's my vlog. It's a little bit different this time around. It's a bit of a working on the car and a bit of politics. Hopefully I haven't put you to sleep. And thanks for watching.